Hello everyone, this is Dr. Madhvika Mathur. Today's topic of discourse is Christabel, Part 1, a poem by S.T. Coleridge. I'll begin with a brief biography of Samuel Taylor Coleridge. He was born in the year 1772 in Ottery, Devonshire. He was the 13th child of an impoverished and scholarly clergyman and schoolmaster. Coleridge was an English poet, a critic, philosopher, and theologian. He, along with William Wordsworth, was the founder of the Romantic movement in England. Coleridge was a member of the Lake Poets. Between 1797 and 1802, he wrote the following poems for which he is so eminently known: The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Kubla Khan, A Dream Fragment, Christabel, Dejection and Ode. In collaboration with Wordsworth, Coleridge wrote lyrical ballads in the year 1798, the revised edition of which came in the year 1800. He had crippling bouts of rheumatic fever, anxiety, and depression. So Coleridge was treated with laudanum, which fostered a lifelong opium addiction in him. जब आप लोगों ने कोलरिज के बारे में पढ़ा होगा तब ये ओपियम के एडिक्शन के बारे में बहुत प्रोमिनेंटली बताया जाता है। तो इसका कारण यही था कि बचपन की कुछ बीमारियों की वजह से इनको जो दवा दी गई उसमें ओपियम था। So gradually he became addicted to that. About the poem, Christabel, it is narrative in form. Narrative यानी एक के बाद एक घटनाओं का वर्णन किया गया है, कहानी के तौर पर इसको लिखा गया है. A long Gothic ballad. So ballad again is a narrative composition in rhythmic verse, which is suitable for singing. The poet intended it to be a long one. He intended it to be a long poem divided into 5 parts. But due to certain reasons, he suffered from barrenness with regard to the poetic composition. यानी पोएट चाहते थे कि 5 लंबे भाग में इसको पोम को वो लिखें, बट किसी कारणवश वो नहीं कर पाए और ये जो पोम है ये 2 पार्ट्स में उन्होंने लिखी. The first part was written at Neither Stowaway in 1797. Christabel Part 1 जो है, it has 337 lines. And the second part in Keswick, Cumberland, in 1800. This poem, it was first published in a pamphlet in 1816. So you can see for 16 years, there is a long gap of 16 years. After writing the second part in the year 1800, it got published in the year 1816. So Christabel, even in its fragmentary state, is perfect actualization of the supernatural ballad. यानी हम क्या देखते हैं, क्रिस्टेबल हालांकि फ्रेगमेंट्री फॉर्म में है, 5 की जगह 2 पार्ट में ही इसको लिखा गया, अधूरी है ये, इसका एंड हमें नहीं पता चला, लेकिन फिर भी एक बहुत ही आइडियलिस्टिक बैलेड फॉर्म में ये पोम उन्होंने लिखी जो आज भी मासेस को अपील करती है. Analysis of the poem. See, first part, it has 337 lines. So we are coming to the analysis. The opening stanza creates a poetic image of medieval English castle. Medievalism of English people, English culture, and superstitions on grand scale. The first line, where the owl's hooting wakes the cock and creates an environment of suspense and horror. The castle owner is a rich baron, and he has a toothless mischief witch. It is perceived that she perceives Lady Leoline's ghost that keep wandering in the castle. So आप देखेंगे जहाँ से ये पोम शुरू होती है, वहीं से वो सुपरनैचुरल एलिमेंट जो है उन्होंने इसमें इंट्रोड्यूस एस.टी. कोलरिज ने किया है. The poem is about a girl named Christabel. We see she goes into the jungle to pray at midnight. So she had a dream. She had a nightmare that her fiance was in some trouble. So she had come to the woods in the midnight to pray for the well-being of her lover. So while praying, she hears some sound of moaning. She is astounded by the moaning sound and goes to the other side of the tree. On the other side, she sees a damsel who is bright, who is dressed in a silken robe of white. So she looks at the lady, the damsel, and her name is Geraldine. So Geraldine tells Christabel how she had been abducted by 5 horsemen. They have left her there and have said that they will be back very soon. So Christabel appeared to be scared and she was in dire need of help. Christabel is moved by Geraldine's story and she invites her to her castle to spend the night. We see both the ladies, they walk towards the castle. They cross the moat, and finally, when they reach the castle gate, Geraldine faints on the gate. So this was the first indication that there is something strange, there is something that was wrong. Here, Christabel helps her with all her might, lifts her and takes her inside the castle gate. After that, both of them, they walk through the court, through the courtroom, where Christabel asks Geraldine to be very cautious as not to make any sort of noise, as her father was not keeping well. So both of them very carefully walks through the corridors and reaches Christabel's bedroom. Christabel is very kind by nature. She does not want to disturb anyone. So she asks Geraldine to share her bed that night. In the bedroom, when Geraldine enters, again, we see that she feels weak and she faints. So Christabel offers her a cordial wine which was prepared by her mother. So Geraldine sips that and she is filled with power. Again, she rises, and in the bedroom for the first time, Christabel comes to know that Geraldine was not like any other normal human being. There was something evil about her. In the room, Geraldine casts a spell on Christabel. She asks Christabel to undress, and she undresses herself as well. Then she embraces Christabel so that the spell passes on to Christabel. This spell was on Christabel's ability to speak. That is, she could utter only what she was permitted to. And with this, part 1 of Christabel comes to an end. So coming to the form and meter that are used in the poem, there are no set number of lines or regulated stanzas, although the poem is rhymed. The original poem is composed in rhyming couplets, that is AA, BB, CC. Couplets, that is 2 lines rhyming in the same manner. To quote from the poem, the lovely lady Christabel, whom her father loves so well, what makes her in the woods so late, a furlong from the castle gate? So you can see I have underlined the words that rhyme Christabel well. So both the words sound same. bell and well. So AA, late and gate. So late doesn't sound same as well. So we change the alphabet, that is B. So late and gate, they sound same. So BB. So this is what we have written. It is rhyming in couplets, AA, BB. But occasionally in the poem, he uses alternate rhyming, that is AB, AB, CD, CD. To quote, she stole along, she nothing spoke. The sighs she heaved were soft and low, and naught was green upon the oak, and moss and rarest mistletoe. So spoke is A, low, because spoke and low, they don't sound same, so B. Then oak, so spoke and oak, the sound is same. So we have put the rhyming as A, A. And mistletoe, mistletoe, it sounds same with low. So low is because we have named it B. So obviously mistletoe will be B. So AB, AB. Another thing which is there in the poem is that he has used accentual metrical system, which is based on the count of the accents in the poem. Now the themes, the prominent themes in the poem. The first one is obviously the supernatural. Supernaturalism is the forte of S.T. Coleridge. This can be seen in his other poems like Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Kubla Khan also. Throughout the poem, Geraldine appears to be a normal being, except now and then, Coleridge gives us the hint that there is something not normal about her. For example, we know that evil cannot enter inside the home without the aid of the innocent. So here, as soon as they reach the castle gate, we see Geraldine, she faints on the door. And it is with the help of Christabel that she enters in the castle. So this is a strong indication that she is not a normal human being. By the end of the first part, we come to know that Geraldine is evil and her intentions are not good. He uses the concept of willing suspension of disbelief in most of his notable poems, and this has been maintained in this Gothic ballad as well. The next theme is good versus evil. There is a constant struggle between good and evil. Christabel represents good, purity, virtue, whereas Geraldine represents everything that is evil, dark, and scary. This poem is a fragment. See, we do not know what the end is, but throughout the poem, there is the tussle between good and evil, which is the basic theme of this poem. There is another incidence of, in the very opening lines, Coleridge talks about the owl and the cock. Owl is a nocturnal bird with traditional association of evil and omen. And the cock is a benevolent bird. Thus, in the second line of the poem itself, the warring principles of good and evil are adumbrated. Next is religiosity versus sin. The protagonist, Christabel, is a God-fearing individual. This is evident in the very beginning when we saw her praying under the tree in the woods at midnight. Christabel, the name itself means Lady of Christ. The poem is full of references of Mother Mary, Jesus Christ, and the guardian spirit of Christabel's mother. The name of Jesus and Mary are invoked to safeguard Christabel from imminent calamity. Geraldine, who is the symbol of evil and sin in the poem. Sin, I'll quote a line, she was a sight to dream of, not to tell. And in one of the incidences, we see Geraldine, when she enters in the castle, and Christabel, she thanks Mother Mary for safeguardly bringing them to the castle. Geraldine shows her inability to take the name of God. So this was a sign that she is sin, she is evil. Then comes the next point of sexuality versus purity. Geraldine tries to seduce Christabel, not only spiritually, but physically as well. And she is very much successful in seducing her physically. Though she could not do too much harm to Christabel because of the presence of her guardian, because of the presence of her mother's guardian spirit there. Then the last point is memory and the past. The poem Christabel is replete with incidents of past. Her mother died while giving birth to Christabel. And this is reminded to her now and then in the poem. We even see Sir Leoline, who is not in good health. And one of the reasons is that he is mourning the death of his wife for a very long time. And this even had an impact on the relationship with the other characters in the poem. So the memory of the past and its impact helps in giving shape to the relationships in the poem. The symbols that are used in the poem: light and dark. So where the poem begins, the opening line, it was an atmosphere of mystery, strangeness, and terror. The setting is of a medieval Gothic castle. The hour is midnight. And what do we see? That it is 12 midnight. And it was a moonlit night. But the moon, it was covered with thin grayish cloud. So although it is a moonlit night, there is light, but it was not a clear light. The night is a symbol of darkness, which also symbolizes evil. So evil, which gets power, which gets stronger at night. So in the poem, we see Geraldine. She is able to do all the wrong at night. So night or darkness symbolizes evil. Then there is another very strong or prominent symbol of bells. So there is the jingling of the wedding bells, grave sound of the bells at the funeral, evening bells indicating the close of the day, and even the bells of the castle clock. So whenever the castle clock would ring, the mischief bitch would growl with that, creating an atmosphere of mystery. There is the reference that on the deathbed, Christabel's mother, she said that when the wedding bells of Christabel will ring, she will be there. She'll come to witness the wedding of her daughter. So these are certain symbols that are used in the poem. With this, I come to the end of the analysis of the poem Christabel. Thank you so much.